What's going on, everybody? Nicholas Moreano alongside Herb Howard. Just got done listening to Ryan Poles talk about Colston Loveland. And Herb, I got a question for you.
What's up?
Have you ever put up wire fence in Idaho before?
Sir, I've never been to Idaho, okay?
Same here, but that was a question that actually Colston Loveland asked Ryan Poles when speaking with him, just to kind of get a better understanding and why that question was even brought up in the first place. Talking about his hands and that it comes into play when blocking, when you see him as a natural hand catcher, just getting to know his new draft pick.
No, I think you can see his personality comes through, and you can tell that he's got some things in his background based off of where he grew up. And you can kind of see that when he's talking, you can kind of feel that energy from him. And just the influence of being from the small town in Idaho, and I think it's going to serve him well on and off the football field.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And some of the things that Ryan Poles was highlighting when talking about Colston and why he was a good fit for the Bears. One, he talked about beefing up the personnel when they get into 12 personnel, and Colston Loveland will definitely do that. He also being a complement to Cole Kmet there. Different playing styles, but will each be able to complement each other as they're kind of going through this offense.
I think the mismatches that they're going to be able to create too, because both of them can do multiple things at a high level. So it's one thing to just be able to run routes, but if you can also then come in line and block at an adequate level as well, then that allows you to do what Coach Ben Johnson's been talking about doing. We can do different things that look the same. So we can line up and we can run the ball with both of you guys in there, or we can, and then when the defense responds and say, okay, well, we got to go big on personnel, or we got to stay in base, then we get both of those guys out of there and you have a problem on your hands. And so I think his versatility to flex him out but also bring him into the formation is going to be really, really advantageous for this offense.
Advantageous also to Caleb Williams. And he was asked about that, Ryan Poles today, like how could Colston Loveland help out Caleb? And when you look in the history, like tight ends are usually a quarterback's best friend, right? So now he has two of them in Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. But Herb, there's obviously day two, and we're wrapping up here at Hallis Hall, but who's a player that you're kind of looking for, as the Bears obviously have picks 39 and 41 at this moment?
A lot of people have been saying leading into this draft that there wasn't a ton of separation between maybe picks 15 and 40 in terms of the prospects themselves, and so there's still a lot of good players that are left on the board right now at positions of need for the Bears. They've still got edge rusher, they still got offensive line, running back they can still address, and there are some really, really good players on the board. For me personally, I like Mike Green, man. I just love that edge rusher out of Marshall. He does not fit the prototypical size mold for what a Dennis Allen defensive end looks like, so he may be disqualified and scratched off their board already. But if he isn't, man, you watch him rush the passer, he's got speed, he's got counter moves. He's strong enough to hold up at the point of attack in the run game as well. I just really like what he brings to the table as an edge rusher if he is there for them at 39 and 41.
And Mike Green had the rep at the Senior Bowl when I was down there in Mobile, Alabama, just destroying Connerly, the offensive tackle from Oregon. But I'm also thinking like the same lines I'm looking at the edge rushers, but I'm looking at Ohio State's JT Tuimoloau. Handful to say, but it's a guy that also had 12 and a half sacks last season. He does fit physically.
In the Big Ten.
Big Ten also would fit Dennis Allen's kind of body type that you're looking for, a guy that times of passes, has had a couple of interceptions in his career, but we're both thinking edge rusher. I think that 39-41 spot is maybe the sweet spot to go get somebody to rush the quarterback.
He definitely fits the mold. Probably more likely, if they're going to go that way, that he's the type of guy that they get, and not so much Mike Green. But they got two picks within three selections. Running back is still a need. Your boy's on the board still.
Caleb Johnson is still there from the University of Iowa, and if you're looking for a different type of style than a DeAndre Swift, that's definitely a guy that would fit there. But
both the backs from Ohio State still on the board.
There's a lot of good players, and that's why when Ryan Poles was asked, about potentially moving up, giving up more than draft capital, than only selecting one player, it just didn't make sense for the Bears, and that's why they're ultimately have still two picks on day two.
Because the strength of this draft is where it is, and the Bears have two picks in that range, Ryan Poles, I don't want to go 2 for 1 for whomever he was thinking about trading up with. I was asking him specifically about Colston Loveland, and was it a situation similar to, we've seen all the behind-the-scenes tape. He was on the edge of his seat waiting to see if they could actually get Rome. I asked him, was this a similar situation, or did he just lean on the flexibility that they earned through the offseason with the acquisitions that they made to just kind of let the board fall to them and see who's the best player available there? He said they just kind of let it unfold. And once they got to 10, they knew they loved Colston, had done all the work on him. Ryan Poles said he'd seen him live in person 2 or 3 times when he was players at Michigan. They obviously love talking to him, and they're very, very happy with the selection they made.
Yeah, and you know what? They can just let the board fall to them, I think, here at 39-41, and we'll just have to wait and see what those picks are. But that's Herb Howard, Nicholas Moreano. It's the Bigs. It's us.